Maybe I'm crazy,
Ooh.
but this will be the greatest show that the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast has ever done.
Ooh. You right?
And if anyone is still watching, you may find out.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. That is Brandon Newman.
Hola, hola.
Yeah, it's a big show, though.
Man.
No joke.
That's a lot of stuff going on.
No cap, it's a big show.
Yes.
We have Ernestine of Skip Bayless fame on the show.
Balls.
Ernestine Sclafani Bayless. Balls. How to keep your relationship alive when you live with a sports obsessed guy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it correctly. Yes, you can get it on Amazon.
Yes.
Pre-order, and you can get it on Amazon now on Kindle. I am that far through. It's about halfway.
I didn't know that was indicated something.
Yes, it's a bookmark.
I know. I just thought you were trying to keep the
Ernestine
bookmark.
is my friend, and she gave me a special autographed copy.
Yes.
There you go.
We are friends now, so it wasn't autographed, but because we just became friends after.
Well, she'll be here on Friday because she's going to be on Undisputed on Friday, which is going to be must-watch television.
Got to.
And she gave me a little football bookmark.
It's nice.
Because she's the cutest, and I love her.
She is cute.
So she's great. She's on with us today. She talks all things Skip Bayless if you're a Skip Bayless fan, or even if you're not. She's incredible and has amazing stories.
Yes.
And if you're, you have a relationship with somebody that is obsessed with anything,
Right.
their job or their hobby or whatever it is, this is a good book to explain how to do that. And even if you don't, there's just they've been together for 14 years, and she deals with the highest level of intensity in sports watching and consumption and research. And I can attest to what she deals with because I worked on Undisputed for 2 years.
Yep.
And helped launch Undisputed, obviously, on this network. And I met her and Skip at the same time. And Skip is like no other talent in the world.
No.
And Colin is similar in his research. All high level talent are big in their research, but Skip is very specific in how he likes to consume everything that has to do with what he may even talk about or not, which is why he's the best debate show, period. So she gets into all of that, and she's great. We're also going to talk about Antonio Brown. We're going to talk about Skip's Cowboys, the Steelers, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham and his watch, the Texans, Cam Newton, and we have two.
Count them.
Major, colossal, life-changing, extra dramatic, extra sauce announcements to make today at the end of the show. Don't skip ahead.
Don't
you guys
do
listen all the way through, and then you get your cookies at the end.
Yes.
And believe me, they are delicious.
Cookies after dinner.
Yeah. We know you can fast forward, but don't do it.
No, you can't.
It's worth it. It's worth the wait. So let's get started with our friend Ernestine. All right. Very, very, very big day. We have the first lady of FS1 in the building. It's a very big deal.
Ernestine.
Miss Ernestine Sclafani Bayless
Pressure.
is here on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast.
You've heard a lot about her. If you've been watching FS1
No.
and ESPN, you've heard a lot about her. We have her in the flesh.
If you don't know who we're talking about, this is Ernestine,
Thank you.
who is an amazing writer and is
Thank
also married to our own Skip Bayless.
That's the amazing part.
Yes. As you read the book, you
Yes.
find that out. Well, I know a little bit about it because I worked with Skip for 2 years, launching a brand new show on a relatively new network. But I met you simultaneously meeting Skip. So we became good friends.
Yes.
And you are wonderful. And
Thank you.
love that
Same
you
as you.
keep Skip. I don't want to say grounded is the right word, but you bring an element to Skip that we don't get to see with Skip on TV, which is what basically the book is about. So she has a new book, and I highly recommend you get it. I'm halfway through already.
Thank you.
It's called Balls, How to Keep Your Relationship. I feel like I need to emphasize that one.
Yes.
Balls, How to Keep Your Relationship Alive When You Live with a Sports-Obsessed Guy.
Perfect.
That sums it up.
Yes. Now, Skip is also a contributor in the book.
He is.
But what made you want to write the book?
I wrote the book because after all of these years of being with Skip, 14, August 27th, and 3 years married, I had been through too many games in my life with Skip that I really didn't want to sit through, but I did because I wanted to be with this guy.
Right.
And I had a lot of friends that would say to me, how are you watching these games? Don't you get tired of them? And I could never do it. And so I figured, well, I think I should write this book that declared all of my tips and secrets to these women that can't take it, but they need to because they're either living with a guy, they're dating a guy, they're married to a guy, and so that's what I did. And in love with a guy, and so I decided, okay, I'm just going to sit, and it's been in my head for so many years because, like I said, 14 years. And the first year I was with him, I never even knew what football was. I never went to a game in my life. Ooh. I've never been to a real football game in my life.
Really?
I swear to God.
That's fascinating when you consider that you're married to
Yes.
Skip Bayless.
It's true, yeah. And the closest I have ever come to a football game was I played clarinet in the high school band, and so I went to the marching. I was part of the marching band, and we went to football games. But I have never been to an NFL game. I've never been to an NBA game. I went to one baseball game in my life with a good friend of mine back in the day. We went to see the Yankees, and that was it. And that's the only game I've ever been to. So when I met Skip, and he said, I'm in sports, I was like, oh, that's really nice. I had no idea what the magnitude of I'm in sports meant.
Right, exactly.
So he would come to my house, my apartment, and he would say, can we turn on the game on the weekend? And I was like, sure. And then it never ended. So it started at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, he was still there watching games. And I thought, this is odd. But then it became a regular thing, and I even bought the sports package for him at my apartment.
Ooh,
that's how much I cared about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, could you get the sports package? I had no idea what the sports package was. I was like, sure. And
Just
then
$75 more.
$75, and then it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it's Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it went on from there.
Having known Skip for 2 years, the idea of him asking someone to turn on the game is like fascinating enough. Like I can't imagine him like being in your apartment with the anxiety of knowing like this game is on that I have to watch.
Starting
that I've got to
now.
ask you to watch
It's
the game.
true.
Like it's that intense, which is why when you told me that you had the book, I was like, that is genius, because as you mentioned in the book, whatever you're going through, like Earl kind of goes through this with me because he doesn't really like football. And you know what football season is. It's like the dreaded football season.
Marathon.
We kind of all go through it
Right.
with our significant others, even if they like sports, because it's just so many games. As you said, Thursday,
endless.
Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, Monday, and then, it just never ends. And then NBA season kicks in. It's just baseball. So, yeah.
It's just endless. It is.
So it is really something, especially if you're in the business. But what was Skip's reaction? Was it your idea? Was it Skip's idea to write the book?
It was my idea because I had the idea in my head for at least 10 years because I kept thinking, God, I would call my mother and I would say to my mother, I have to watch another game. And she'd say, oh, and my mother being a little Jewish woman from Long Island, she grew up in Manhattan, but she was like, listen, would you rather have him go to Hooters with some guys and watch it with the guys? He wants to watch the game with you. I'd say, oh, okay. And then I was like, my friends would say, how do you do this? And so I thought there has to be something out there like a guidebook or a handbook. And I looked online and there was nothing. Nobody wrote a book. Holly Robinson Pete wrote a book about what the 40-yard line means, and I don't care about that. And then they were all, Alyssa Milano had her version of teaching women about football and baseball. I didn't care. I needed to teach women about tips, how to keep your relationship going and how you can cope with it, even if you don't care about it. And so that was why I wrote the book.
Right, and the book really isn't about understanding sports.
Not at all.
It's really actually a dating manual.
Yeah.
And to your point, there's no, there's always a saying, there's no book on how to do these things.
Right.
Like, there is no book on how to date someone. And this is literally a book on how to be with someone who is sports obsessed. But, as you read it, to me, it was relatable in a lot of ways with relationships because we're all trying to figure out, how to handle our partners for various reasons.
Right.
And it's a lot about compromise, and you both compromise, what you both do to make it work. So Skip is on a whole nother level. As you mentioned in the book, whatever you're going through, Ernestine is
I'm
dealing with it on
magnified 1,000 times.
another level.
Yeah.
So what did you want people to take from the book aside from just, how to handle someone who's obsessed with sports?
I think it doesn't have to be that you're with someone who likes sports. And you said compromise, and that's really what it's about. As far as a relationship goes, you can date someone who's an engineer or a veterinarian or a doctor, but you have to compromise in every relationship.
Right.
And whether it's the beeper is going off because he's a doctor and he has to go to the hospital and you're in the middle of watching, you're at the theater, you have to compromise, or whatever it is. Mine just happens to be sports. And so I think it's just about relationships, and the sports part of it just adds a fun, insane part of it because it really is a religion that I've come to know for guys and some women. And when I first started to see him, like any new relationship, so you're dating the guy and you're putting on like really cute clothes that you think he's going to appreciate. And I was doing that when he was in my apartment watching the games. He could care less if I was wearing the entire Victoria's Secret lingerie closet. He would be like, can you move over? Like, hey, and I'm standing there with a really nice, little camisole, whatever it is, and he has no interest. He's like, I can't believe Tom Brady threw that pass, and it's like, do you see what I'm wearing? He has no interest. So that's one of the tips. It's like you really have to see what the whole picture is, because it's not just, hey, I'm going out with this guy and he likes sports. And even if your guy is not as magnified as Skip is, if he likes a team, he likes a team.
Right.
And it's really a very important thing in his life.
Obviously, your love of sports has probably grown over time.
Yeah.
Like just appreciating the art of the thing. Are your takes growing? Or I know you're following Cowboys, the Spurs. Do you ever have takes?
Well, Skip usually asks me, should they throw a 40-yard pass, or should they bunt, or should they punt, or should they, this is like what he asks me. And then I'm afraid to answer, because if I answer the wrong answer, he takes it like, well, why did you say they should do that? Right. So I kind of just say, I don't know. What do you think? He's like, well, I think that, he should just pass, whatever. So I go along with that. But I have come to know what, little things are. Horse collar.
Dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I know what that is.
Yeah.
It's like little terms, and Skip will say, wow, I'm really impressed. You know that. Well, I'm watching it. Would have to be a piece of wood if it didn't sink into my head after a while, 3-point line, he's got to shoot from the 3-point, whatever. Mm-hmm. I know a little bit about it. I can probably talk a little sports. If you asked Skip, he would probably say, oh, she doesn't know that much. But of course, I don't know what he knows, but then he does this for a living.
Right, no one knows what Skip knows.
But I can hold my own. When we lived in Manhattan, the doorman, who really loved Skip, and when Skip would be in Connecticut working at ESPN, I'd be living in New York City, and I would walk into my apartment building, and he would channel Skip through me. So he would say to me, so what'd you think of the game last night? I'd be like, yeah, I watched it. So what did you think of, that whatever it was? And I'd be like, he thinks I'm Skip. So then I'd have to call Skip and ask Skip, hey, what'd you think of that? So then I could go downstairs and tell Andre, the doorman, what the real take was. Because that's what people do. They talk to me as though I'm Skip.
They love it. Love talking about sports. Anyone's opinion. We'll take a bad one.
Right, yeah.
We'll take my opinion.
Yeah. So when I met you, the first thing I thought was, wow, like you and Skip, you just connect. Like you have so much in common. So when I found out you didn't watch or care about sports, it was fascinating, because it is fascinating predicament. You did not. Now you do more, but you did not care or even know. Because it's one thing to not care. Like some people just like casually watch sports and know who this person is, that person is, but you literally were the polar opposite. Like you couldn't even recognize someone in the street.
That's true.
When it comes to sports. And you're with Skip Bayless, who is the biggest name in our industry.
Getting recognized in the streets himself.
Right. And he would be
more than most athletes.
Right.
Oh, yes, 100%.
True.
So how did you guys meet? Like how did those worlds collide?
It was the craziest thing. I had been dating somebody who was in entertainment for like 12 years, and then we were on the verge of breaking up, and I had no idea about sports. But he loved the Yankees. He loved sports. So one day I was in my living room, and I walked through the living room, and he had this game on. And I said, oh, what are you watching? It was a TV show. And he said, oh, I'm watching ESPN. These two guys debate, and this guy is really good, but this guy, he's an idiot. And the idiot was Skip. And so I thought to myself, wow, he's kind of nice looking, that idiot, but I didn't think anything about it, and I just went on. And about 2 weeks later, I was working for a PR agency. I had to book Kevin Dillon from Entourage on a TV show. He was promoting, one of our clients was Hanes and Champion underwear and sportswear. So I booked him on 2 shows, and one was Cold Pizza. Wow. And I decided to go with Kevin, and I thought, well, it's a guy's show. Maybe I'll meet a guy, because my other relationship was ending. And I walked into the green room, and I look at the door, and somebody's passing the door, and it was Skip. And Skip passes again, and he comes into the green room, and he says, hey, who are you here with? What are you doing? And he's like grilling me, and I was really nervous. I was giving him, I said I lived on 52nd and 1st. I lived on 1st and 52nd. I was giving him all this wrong information. And then before he left, this was maybe a 30 to 40 second meeting, I handed him my business card, and I said, hey, if you ever need PR, give me a call. And the woman that was working with me, he walked out. She said to me, you're going to marry that guy. I said, oh, you're insane. And she said, no, you're going to marry that guy. And that was the funniest thing I heard. And a week later, I broke up with the guy I was with, and Skip that afternoon, the day that we had met, he emailed me and he said, "Hey, I'm sorry I had to run. I just wanted to say it was nice meeting you." And we started emailing each other, and we emailed each other for 2 weeks. And then we went out on our first date, and we've never been apart since.
Wow.
That's the truth.
And it's funny because it's like
amazing.
the sports did kind of bring you together.
Always
so
do.
Oh, yeah.
We know a little bit more about Skip because we work with him, but publicly Skip's persona is not, like, he doesn't really get too much into his personal life. Like, we all know.
Right.
You're
I
Ernestine, and we
exist.
all know about Hazel.
Right.
And a little bit about how he grew up. But on a personal level, we don't really know what Skip's into other than sports.
Right.
So what's Skip like? Is Skip a romantic? What do you guys do for dates?
It's very funny because people think we debate at home. So if anybody meets me, they say, "So do you debate with him at home?" No, I mean, sometimes we debate, sometimes we fight, and then they say, "Do you ever win?" I say, "Yeah, I win sometimes." So he doesn't win every debate,
right?
But Skip is very spiritual. He's very mild. He's not as, he really is what you see on TV is what he is. In that sports world, he's as honest and truthful, and what you see is him. But he also is very, he's a kind person. He's really caring. And he's a good guy. And so that was, my father always told me, you need to write a list of pros and cons in anything in your life. So when I first started dating Skip, and he had this crazy sports thing, but he had all these other qualities I really liked. And I love the movies. He loves the movies. We can go to 3 movies in one weekend and not be bored. And we like walking a lot, and we like music, and we like the theater. And so he had all these great qualities, and he's very sincere, and he's loyal. So all of those little added up to a good thing. And then we had the sports, and so it was like, okay, I like those qualities. And the first day when I met him, we talked about Woody Allen movies because we both love Woody Allen movies. The first night we talked on the phone for 3 hours, and he said, "I love Woody Allen." I said, "I love Woody Allen." And he said, I love Lucy. I know every episode." I said, "I know every episode verbatim." And so I was like, this guy is not that bad. He's really kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because the first night he and I went out, we went to a little pizza place on First Avenue, and we walked back and we got Tasty Delight, which is a New York thing. And then he said, "Listen, if you and I are ever going to get to know each other," he said, "I have 3 days off. The next 3 days I'm off, or we have no shows or whatever it was. We have to go out every single day." I was like, wow. Oh, okay. So we went out 3 days in a row, and we went to the movies. We walked around New York. It was everything. But he's like, that is Skip. He's very, this is him. He's very prepared. He said, if I didn't do 3 days with you, then we would never get to know each other, and I don't know. So we had to do that. So we did it, and then we just started dating. And so, I don't know. That's
amazing.
You also said a very specific quote from Skip. I don't know if it was your first date or like the first couple times you went out, but he said something to you.
Oh, he said that I'll always be.
Very aggressive statement.
Oh yeah.
Which, like, when you're out dating and stuff, like, people kind of are not usually as direct as this.
It's like the red flag that you would run the other way.
Right. Like, but he presented the red flag.
Right.
Like, here's my red flag.
Skip is Skip.
Yeah.
Here's the red flag.
So
What was it?
the red flag was we were having pizza, and he said to me, "My job comes number 1, so whoever's in my life would be 1A." And I'm thinking, well, I'm never going to stick around for that. Like, this is just a pizza night. Like, I don't care. And then I said to him, well, I'll never give up my apartment. I always will have my own apartment because I always want to feel that I have a place to go to. I never want to be owned by a guy. And so it was like, oh, okay. So that was thrown out on the table. And then after those 3 days of hanging out with him, it just went. And I don't care what he says at this point. He's made me number 1, and his job is 1A. And he'll probably deny that, but I know that it's true.
It's the way to happiness.
Well, this is why we love Ernestine.
Yes,
it's true,
so
because,
beautiful.
he can. He's as dedicated to that job. He really is. Like, this is a man who watches sports 12 months out of the year, even in June and July when there's no sports or it's winding down. Skip will find, I'll come into the living room, what are you watching? Women's softball from Oklahoma City. And he's like, look at the way that girl throws. And I'm like, can we put on Jeopardy or something?
Anything else.
Right.
But Skip, that's his love. But he is a dedicated person. When my mom was sick, Skip was there. Skip is the most, he's a family guy, even though he grew up with a very dysfunctional family. When he started going out with me, I grew up with the total opposite. My mother was the most lovable, caring, kind person, best mother, best wife, and Jewish, so she ended up converting Skip to eating matzo ball soup, and Skip is a big matzo ball soup eater. And he realized that there was love, that people could be in love and show emotion. And so I kind of helped him with that because he was just from a family that had no emotion.
You brought a little softness to him.
Yeah.
In a good way. A little sensitivity.
And we work with Skip. I met Skip originally. I was running social media for Undisputed, so I met Joy originally. And at that point in time, he was just on Twitter, a master of words. We all know that, very articulate. Now he has Instagram, which we're all a big fan of. Very happy he's on. How do you feel about Skip on Instagram? Are you looking for content? Are you giving him ideas? I'm sure you're taking some pictures. My wife takes all the pictures that I do, the crazy things. So what is it like with Skip on Instagram?
I take the pictures when he's throwing his Dallas Cowboy T-shirt into the garbage. That was me. So every time he says, could you take the picture? I say, wow, this is going on my resume, because he's like, that's a really good picture you took. So I'm getting that and building up that part of my resume. But he'll run it by me. He'll say, hey, what do you think if I want to put Hazel on this? Can you take the picture of us or whatever? And I say, yeah, okay, sure. But that's about as far as I go with his Instagram.
You were in PR. So
yeah, I was in PR, so it's like I know the whole PR thing of it. But and his Facebook and his Twitter. And when I first met him, his Twitter is just, Twitter is Twitter, and so there's some really insane people out there that go on Twitter and say horrible things about people that they don't know. And I'm a very protective person, that if I care about you, I will fight till the end for that person. And so I didn't like what they were saying about him. He would tell me, hey, listen to this, and then after a while he stopped reading those to me because it was really upsetting to me.
Yeah, I had to tell my mother. My mom is very calculated about how she brings stuff up to me, and she was like, so I read this comment on your Facebook. I was like, let me stop you there.
Right.
Here's the rule moving forward. No more reading the comments.
Right.
Like, I don't even read the comments. And it was one of the tips Skip gave me when we first started the show. He was like, you can't read your Twitter mentions anymore because you're going to get bombarded with crazy people, which I'd worked in sports radio, so I knew, but I still would kind of go back at people, and Skip never does that. What he says, he means. So I was going to ask you that because I know you are super protective. And it's hard when you're with somebody who's in the public eye. Like, I can't imagine if my brother was playing now, what Twitter would be like for me. Like, it would be insane. But has anyone ever come up to you and said something, or have you been around and heard someone say something about Skip?
I had an incident. It was funny. Skip, when we were in New York City, Skip was getting his hair cut at some salon, and I was waiting in the lobby for him. And these two guys came down from the elevator, and they were standing near me, about 5 feet away from me. And one guy, they worked at the hair salon. One guy said to the other, oh, do you see who was up there? It was Skip Bayless. He goes, oh, such a jerk. And I heard it, and I was like, I'm not going to let that go. So I went over to him and I said, were you talking about Skip Bayless? And they said, yeah. I said, do you know him? And the guy was like, no, he's just up there. I said, then why don't you not talk about somebody you don't know? I said, you don't know who he is. I said, so I don't really think that's a good idea. And just then Skip came down, and Skip walked over to me, and then they just kind of walked away. And Skip said to me, oh, you're not going to pick a fight. They're like 6'2". I said, well, I'm not going to let somebody say stuff about you. He said, I'm going to have to be the one that's going to fight these guys. I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to. If you want to talk about him beyond, without me hearing, then that's fine. But if I hear something within an earshot distance, I wouldn't let, whether it's my mother, my sister, my friends, Joy, you, I wouldn't let them do that. So, but people tend to talk about anybody in the public eye, in the spotlight. They don't know the person, and automatically you have this built-in.
Well, that's the environment that we live in. But you don't want the smoke. Right? They didn't want the smoke.
No,
not with the Baylesses.
No,
not at all.
So it's just terrible. And I was ready to fight the guy. I would have just knocked him down. It's just like,
you're a New Yorker.
Right?
You don't play
That's
that.
the New York Skip, the New York pit bull.
I know that Skip's superstitious. Do you think that Hazel has anything to do with the Dallas Cowboys doing so well?
Oh, please.
I'm just saying that Hazel's coming around.
There's a chapter in the book that it's the funniest chapter because it's really true. It's the jinx chapter. I live my life with jinxes. So when we first got Hazel, which Joy came over the house a lot when Hazel was a little girl. Now she's a big girl. She's 3 years old, little puppy Maltese. And all of a sudden, I would be, if I was in the living room and Skip was in his office watching a game, I'd say, "Where's Hazel? Hazel, Hazel." I want to see where Hazel is. And then I would hear Hazel's in the room with Skip, and I'd open the door. "What are you doing with Hazel?" "Just don't worry about it. Just shut the door." And then I realized Hazel is now a Buddha. So Hazel is now being treated as a Buddha.
Yes.
So then when the team is winning, Skip keeps Hazel in the room, and she's on the chair, and she's having. And then the minute I hear the door open and I hear the door shut, I know Hazel is booted out because the team is losing. So I said, "Oh,
You got to change the energy in the room."
Yeah, he did it the other night. I said, "Oh no, not the Hazel fact." And poor Hazel doesn't know she's getting picked up to be brought in as the good luck charm. You know, he's like, "It's okay, you can come in with me." And then the other day, Sunday, whenever his game was on, it was the Patriots. I had Hazel, and Hazel's scratching at his door because she wants to come in. And so I opened the door. I said, "Hey, can you let Hazel in?" "No, you need to take Hazel away. Hazel cannot come in here." I said, "Come on,
Patriots
Hazel,
are
you
winning."
can't go." Exactly. "You can't go in. I'm sorry." The poor, she doesn't know anything.
In that game, the Steelers needed Hazel to go in the room.
Right. Yeah,
They were a disaster.
Hazel can be passed around now from team to team.
Well, the one thing about Skip I will say, though, because people ask me all the time, especially when I was working on Undisputed, like, do they really mean what they're saying? Like, you go there and you do the show, and like people think, okay, Shannon, we have a topic, LeBron, and Shannon's just going to pick this side, and Skip's going to pick this side,
Just
and
for
I
TV.
tell them, like, that doesn't. If you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you ever argue something passionately you don't care about, no. So we couldn't do a 2.5 hour television show based off nonsense.
Right.
Like these guys really believe what they're saying.
And Skip would not.
Skip would not. So he has very popular stances. And, like, this is what he believes. We all know he loves Tom Brady.
Right.
He's the greatest ever. He's the GOAT.
Goat.
We know he's very critical of LeBron.
Yes.
Right.
That's the thing. We know he loves the Spurs and loves the Cowboys.
Jordan's GOAT.
Right.
Jordan is the GOAT. Yes.
Right, Jordan.
Is there anything that Skip is super, like, dug in on that you don't necessarily agree with?
Ooh.
Team-wise?
Or just a take, like, we know he is, like, very critical of LeBron. He's out on Kawhi, as we know, because he's no longer
I
with
like
the Spurs.
Kawhi. So, okay, I love Kawhi from a Spur. I always loved Kawhi. I was going to get a Kawhi sweatshirt before he left the Spurs because I have a Manu sweatshirt and I have a Spurs and I have all that. And so I always loved Kawhi. And when Skip started hating on Kawhi, I still secretly love Kawhi, but I would say to him, I really like him. And Skip would go, "Oh, fine, you could go with Kawhi." And so we were we went to see the Pacquiao fight in Las Vegas.
Right.
And we're sitting there, and I don't like big crowds, and it was a ton of people, and I was starting to get like a panic attack. And everybody, when Pacquiao started winning, people were standing up, and we were maybe the 6th row in, and people started to rush the stage, and I was getting a little paranoid. Oh my God, we're going to get stampled like the Beatles or something. It was crazy. And all of a sudden, I spot Kawhi, right? But before that, this gentleman comes over to Skip, and he says, "Hi, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Kawhi's uncle."
Dennis?
And so
You met Dennis?
Yeah, and he was a very nice
That's
man.
like almost
and so,
bigger than meeting
Yeah,
Kawhi.
It's like a unicorn.
Right, but he was very, very nice. He was dressed really well. He was a handsome-looking man. I said, "I love Kawhi. I just want you to know I love Kawhi." So he said, "Thank you very much." And I saw Kawhi over there. And so he was laughing with Skip. He made kind of a joke, and Skip said, "I'm sorry, he'll always be number 2." You know.
Yeah, Skip
But
always keeps it real.
my
though.
dream was, could I maneuver my way over to meet Kawhi? Like, that would have been the best. And Paul Pierce was there, who I love, Paul Pierce from the Celtics. And so I said to Skip, "Do you think we can go over to Kawhi?" He's like, "How are we going to get over?" But that was my mission. That would have made the night complete. If I could have met Kawhi, and he looks so cute, because I just like him. And so Skip says, "Well, if you can get over there, then you should go ahead, you know." But I couldn't. There were too many security guards. He was sitting with the Pacquiao family. But I love Kawhi, so that has always been our little.
I'm glad. I
awesome.
thought maybe he would tell the whole household had to refer to him as number 2.
No,
Okay,
Kawhi.
good.
Kawhi.
That's good. Well, we were rooting for Kawhi.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Kawhi
back
because
home.
it was a nice year with the Raptors, and I
Yeah.
also picked them to win. So
Yeah,
you know.
okay, good.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that
Yeah.
you say Kawhi is cute because you have a chapter in the book,
Yeah.
which I found very interesting. I believe it's chapter 5. It's cute guys, cool guys,
Right. So,
And so explain
I
this.
like
so
this.
it's one of the way I can watch the games or any team that he has on is because I came up with this idea. For 4 hours, there has to be some kind of purpose and reason behind sitting here and watching this team. So I have to pick out cute guys. So the only way I could watch the game is if I pick out a cute guy. So it's like a guy, if he's watching, whatever show it is, I'm sure he wants to see a female, and he has
quite possibly,
whoever it is. So I started this whole thing that on every team, I decided there was 2 or 3 guys I really liked, and then they became my, as Wendy Williams says, my friend in my head. So they're my friends in my head, and so on every team, it's like okay, I love, it was the Spurs, it was Tony Parker, it was Manu, it was Tim, it was Kawhi, it was Patty Mills. I can go on and on and on.
Great choices.
And so then we do the Tom Brady. I like Tom Brady. He wears Ugg boots, and I like Ugg boots, and so whatever.
They're handsome nowadays.
Yeah. They are. So on every team, that was the only way. And then, but it would get Skip a little crazy, drive him crazy, because then I would pick out the guy, and then I'd say, in the middle of watching the game, so what's his story? Is he married? And Skip would be like, what? Is he married? Yeah, he's got 2 kids, I think. I don't know. Who's his wife? I think his wife is Argentinian. I don't know. And I'm like, so I'm finding out, where do they live? Like, I have invested 4 hours of my life in this, so I need to know a backstory, and it's very interesting to me. So then I'm Googling, and we're sitting there. Did you know that his wife did this and this? He's like, wait a second, wait, just 1 minute, wait, just 1 minute. So
that's good background research, though.
Skip already knows this information. He's a walking encyclopedia for all the people he's watching.
But he doesn't know the backstory, the personal story of, like when Ava Longoria was dating Tony Parker, that was great.
That was juicy.
He said, she brings cookies for the whole team. I said, there's no way she's baking cookies for the whole team. She's no way. So I find it more fun to do that. It's like
that's what we do
game.
here. We're more pop culture-y, talking about the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Sierra Wilson. Is that how you say that?
Wilson.
Yeah. Russell Wilson.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. Exactly.
I will say though, this has been a product, as you said, of watching sports for the past 14 years. Yeah. A lot more than, I will say this very frankly, a lot of men who watch sports. I'm not like dissing anybody, but we do. No, it's just a matter of habit, as you said. Like, you have to be a piece of wood to sit there for as long as you have and not consume anything.
This was the funniest story. So my friends in my head that I've built up, these guys are now my friends, and I watch them, especially NBA, because NBA I could see their faces. NFL, I have a hard time because they're in masks, and it's very hard to see them, so it's a little hard. But NBA, I really have gotten into because I can see them and they're cute, and I get into it. So we went to see the McGregor fight, and in Vegas, and there were a lot of people there. Kanye West was sitting in front of us. It was like a big to-do. And then the friends in my head, all of a sudden from a distance, I see Dwight Howard. And so I've watched Dwight Howard for years, and I feel like he's my friend. And so he starts to come over to Skip, and I go, oh, hi, Dwight, like, because I'm his friend, and he doesn't know who I am. So he's like, hi, and Skip goes, oh, this is Ernestine. I'm like, hi, how you doing? I loved when you dunked that cupcake with the Superman outfit on, the All-Star.
Great time.
So he's like, oh, thanks a lot. But in my head, I've come to know them, but they don't know me. But I've just
spend so much time with them.
I spend so much time, and I feel like they're my friends. And I also think they're very small. But then when you see them in real life, they're very tall.
Huge people.
Yeah, NBA really has that effect. NFL not so much, because you can be a lot of different sizes in the NFL and be successful. It sounds silly, but really, if you go to, and we got to get you to an NBA game.
Yeah,
because
I would definitely go.
We'll enjoy that a lot. And as a girl, I'm a fancy tomboy. Yeah. So I've been to.
That. You are.
Love that.
Hundreds of football games on every level, but NBA games are much more comfortable. You can dress cute.
Oh, really?
You don't have to worry about the weather.
Right.
There's wonderful food
great.
options.
Oh, good.
There's certain
that's great.
seats you can sit in where they bring you drinks,
and
you don't even have to get up.
That's
you have to
great.
wear heels. It's fabulous.
You're planning your trip to when Kawhi and LeBron see each other in Staples.
I have to. Definitely.
But I get why Skip doesn't go to games, though, because it's hard, especially for NFL. I mean, you're just in a box. Like, you can't
watch the game and go to a game.
It's so much more easier to watch him at home. Plus, he has 2 TVs on. He's got his phone at the same time, and then it's much harder to get to the games, especially in LA, and to get back. So and plus he gets heckled, or people will say things to him.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't really thought about that.
Hey,
it's a little easier for us to go to a game. Well, we'll go to a game.
Yeah, I'll definitely go to a game
if it's okay with Skip.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh. I have one more question.
Yeah.
what is it? I'm sorry.
Don't tear up. What? Oh God.
I don't know. He can be dramatic, so
No.
It's okay.
I have a dog. I have a dog as well.
Yes.
I realize Skip loves Hazel. I keep bringing up Hazel questions.
Yes.
You obviously take a lot of credit for Skip's job becoming 1A.
Right? 1A. Yeah.
Where is Hazel on the pecking order?
I think there are some nights that I think Hazel rises above me. And there is really, because even last night he came over to say goodnight.
Yes.
And I was sitting in the living room and I was sitting on the recliner chair and Hazel was on my lap. And so Skip came out of the bedroom and he said, I'm going to go to bed. And Hazel just jumped up first and she kissed him goodnight. And I said, well, I don't know how I can follow that. I said, I can't lick your face. I'm sorry. So he said,
Will not.
well, that's okay. I said, well, I think she's really in love with you. I think more than me, because Hazel just adores Skip. He's like, so he started laughing. Oh, come on. I said, you know it's true. And he goes, oh, right. And he walked away and went to bed. But I think sometimes she rises above.
Yeah, Hazel.
Dogs are different.
Dogs tend to do that.
She doesn't talk back. See, that's the problem, you know.
Yes.
I have a mouth. I mean, unfortunately, I do.
No, I think it's very fortunate, actually.
Yeah.
And I think part of your spunkiness and toughness and resiliency, being who you are and where you're from and what you're made of, is what has allowed this to happen. Because if it was a pushover person or somebody who didn't have strong beliefs or conviction, they would not be able to deal with everything
a lot of
Skip
people,
is.
You know, a lot of women, and it's not about being subservient. It's not about I'm living in 1950s of father knows best.
Right.
But if you care about somebody and somebody is worth it, like I said, it doesn't have to be sports. So it's a compromise. And you make sacrifices. It just happens he's in sports. And so the sports thing is a funny thing. And to me, it's very funny because it's a whole different world than what I've lived in.
Right.
Yeah,
it's the ultimate, what does he call it? The ultimate reality show.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I think some people get just this kind of overreaction to like telling women about sports or like, you know, teaching women about sports. Like I grew up in sports.
Right.
So
your brother was a big famous
this is
player.
naturally, and I played sports growing up, so it's natural for me, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't grow up watching sports. Like women make up half the fan base of sports in general.
Yeah.
So it's not that, but there's also a lot of men and a lot of women, like your father didn't watch sports at all, which is part of the reason why you didn't watch sports.
I didn't grow up, you know, like in a college. Skip grew up in a college world, OU.
Yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh. It's not allowed.
I grew up on Long Island. Like maybe the Yankees, my father would occasionally have a Yankees game on, but it wasn't, and my brother played soccer, but it wasn't like we were in this college town world thing. And when Skip, his family, everybody cares about OU and Snoop Dogg, and you know, it was like I didn't know what this. I thought it was like a Snoopy, like Snoopy the dog, and it was like Snoop Dogg. Then it becomes like I know Snoop and his family and who they are.
Lil
Friend
Wayne.
in my head. Lil Wayne with his game room. He sends me the picture of his sports game room, you know.
Yeah, Lil Wayne is a family friend.
Yeah, he's the nicest man. And when I asked him to contribute to the book, Skip and I were sitting at a restaurant and we were eating dinner one Saturday. I said, do you think Lil Wayne would do it? And he texted, and within 2 minutes, Lil Wayne texted back pictures of his sports cave, all of the answers, his jinxes, what his lady friend thinks about it in 5 minutes. And he wrote me and he said, you're my family, so whatever you need, I will help you.
And that really is like a testament to what Skip is. Like, like he is that dedicated, and that's why I am glad that you mentioned that. Like, it's not being subservient or anything. It's all really just about like caring about the person that you're with and sharing their passion. And he compromises for you. And
he does it all the time. Like Friday night is date night, and he really does try to work around it. But you know, if he has to watch a game, he'll say, hey, I could watch, because we tape Jeopardy. We love Jeopardy, so we watch all 5 on Friday night. Beautiful. And he's very competitive, so he always has to say, you know, if he misses it, I should have gotten that. I said, it's okay. Like, I miss it too. Yeah, but I should have gotten it.
Who
so
wins,
he's
though?
competitive.
Who wins?
I've won a lot, I have to tell you. And he'll say, wow, you really whooped that game, you know. Yeah. But on Friday night, he tries to make it date night, and we watch Jeopardies, and we'll watch whatever like show we're into, Yellowstone or one of the shows that we're watching. But if he has to watch a game, he'll say, I have to watch the beginning of this game. And I'll say, okay. And then I'll sit, or else I'll go and I'll do stuff, and I come back. He's like, now I'm in the 3rd quarter. I can't turn it off. I'm like, all right, watch it, whatever. Or then what he does is he tells me he doesn't have to watch it. I just have to monitor. The word monitor.
Yes,
now monitor has been, we're watching a show, and all of a sudden I see his eyes are looking down. He's got his laptop. I'm like, do you really want? You could watch that if you want to watch it. No, I'm just checking it out. So I've learned.
Wow, that's great.
So I have one last question. So you both still have your watches set to Eastern time.
Amazing.
Yep. Okay.
Amazing.
So how does that work? Because we're in LA.
I know. It works that you become, when you think of your time, you think of it in double.
Yeah.
So he gets up at 2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
And so I hear him, and I get up he's on one side of the house during the week, and I'm on the other side of the house. But then he goes upstairs. We have a treadmill and a bike up in the loft that and he gets on that at 2:30 till 3:30. So at 2:30, I'm in the back my room with Hazel sleeping on the bed, and then I hear the TV on, so I put the sound machine on, and then that lasts, and then at 10:04 he's about to walk out the door, and so I know I'm just built in, so I get up and then I lock the door and I put my alarm on, and the alarm on the TV on the door, and then I try to sleep for an hour more, and it's really hard. Wow. But I'll say to him, "Do you want to eat dinner?" It'll be like 5:00. He's like, "Well, of course, it's almost 8:00." I'm like, no, it's not. It's really 5:00.
Right. Yeah, like your body clock.
It's like I'm living
here.
in an alternate universe, a parallel universe.
Yes.
No, we understand it. Because we work in social media, and obviously when you post something, you're always thinking, okay, what time is it in New York?
Right, but this is like
following.
He'll say it'll be 6:00. He'll do his call with his producer, and then by that it'll run late, and I'll say it's like 6:45. So do you want to have that dinner? It's too late. It's almost 10:00. I'm like, now I just go, oh, okay. In the first year, it was like, no, it's not. He said to me, this is not going to work if you're not going to get on New York time. I'm like, I live in LA. I do work New York time most of the time, but I'm also in LA. I have to be on both times. Now I just like tune it out. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's too late.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you are the testament of compromise and making it work on a lot of levels.
Thank
14 years, 3 years married.
Yes.
And you guys made it work all through his time at ESPN during the week, and you're an inspiration. And the book really is about like their relationship, and it's kind of it's a sophisticated like if you guys did a reality show, it's sophisticated because it's in a book.
Yeah.
And it's a really good read. Yeah. It really is. And like I said, we all have relationships.
Right.
That we're all trying to figure out and how to make it work. And you're a strong, beautiful, incredibly talented, accomplished woman.
Where can we find the book?
Yes, where can
Amazon Friday. It comes out right now. It's up on Kindle. You can get it on Kindle on Amazon, but the delay, they pushed it 2 days, so it's Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be a good thing. Not
it'll be a great thing.
Let's knock on that.
You can pre-order it on Amazon and can get it on Kindle. Yes. Balls, how to keep your relationship alive when you're with a sports obsessed guy, or just with a guy or girl that is intensely passionate about whatever it is that they do. It's a great book. It's very funny. It's very easy to read. And
it's good
knowing
for
both of you,
you just throw it in your bag and you read it before the flight is over.
It's honestly a great book, and I'm super happy for you.
Thank you, Troy.
I love it, and having known both of you two, it's like even more more amazing because I knew bits and pieces of how I didn't know how you guys met actually, but I knew the line about my job's always going to come first.
A1,
which I knew you were like okay,
knock that out.
Please.
I love a challenge.
Yeah,
in his head, A1.
Right, right. But super happy for you, and make sure you get the book. Thank you, Ernestine,
for
coming
for having me.
Appreciate
it's been a joy.
Yes, and give Hazel a hug.
I will.
Yes,
Thank you.
And you and I are going to go to an NBA.
Oh
game
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I can't arrange the Kawhi meeting.
Oh, it's okay.
We'll have to pull some other
find our
strings
way.
for that.
Don't worry. I'm a PR person. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll leave that to you.
It's okay.
But thanks again.
Thank you.
With it or quit it? With it? Quit it.
What?
With it.
We about to turn up in this bitch.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you so much to Ernestine. Make sure you get her book on Amazon. It's available on Kindle right now, and you can order it on Friday the 13th. Balls, how to keep your relationship alive when you live with a sports-obsessed guy. What am I winning or quitting today?
Despite decades of futility, the Browns were a sexy pick to win the Super Bowl, and that was reflected by the betting public in Las Vegas. On Sunday, the Browns hype train, of which Baker Mayfield is the conductor, came to a screeching halt. Joy, contrary to popular belief, the Browns are still the Browns. With it or quit it?
I'm going to quit it. They were a disaster on Sunday. They were a proper disaster.
Other than the first drive, yeah.
Baker had 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. They had 18 penalties for 182 yards. That's some people's whole stat line. One score in Cleveland's last 13 drives, and then of course Greg Robinson decided to kick another player from the other team in the helmet.
It could have been like, don't you know you get hit on the knee by the doctor and the other knee kick? It could have been something like that. Maybe we didn't see the other hit that was. Ooh.
Yeah, it looked intentional and very undisciplined. They were a disaster. Like, you can't 43-13. You can't lose like that. And look, the Titans are known to do that. If you really dig deep on the Titans, like, we don't really give the Titans a lot of credit because of Marcus Mariota, but it's not like that's an unheard of thing for the Titans to do.
Correct.
43-13 is a disaster. If we're just keeping it real, like it was a proper disaster, as I said. But I do think moving forward that they will get it together. The problem is that their schedule is brutal. So they have the Jets on Monday night. Then they have the Rams at home. Then they're at the Ravens and at the 49ers. We'll get to the Ravens a little later, but neither of those games are easy. Home at Seattle, at the Patriots, at the Broncos. And that's just rough. So if you're going to do anything, you need to do it in that stretch. Like, now's the time to prove it. Mark Schlereth said something earlier on the herd that kind of summed it up perfectly. Like the Browns, all the talk around the Browns and the bravado and, their Super Bowl team and all the expectations that they have this year and everybody's gunning for us and like this, all the expectations that they've created for themselves through talk and noise and all of that. It's pretty simple. Like, confidence comes from preparation. Arrogance comes from fear. So I don't have a problem with a team being confident and loud and proud when they have earned that, which is the reason why a lot of people are critical of the Browns, because it's like, what have you done that makes you feel like you can walk around like that? Because the Patriots don't even do that. Like, they have a bit an air about them, but they're always talking about how they have stuff to prove and we got to improve on this, and like that's the mantra around there.
You're too old.
It's never that you're coming in saying that we got this ever, and that's why they got this, because they know they have to always be better, be 1% better than you were yesterday. And that doesn't feel like that's the case with the Browns. And that's kind of like, I don't mind a little cockiness, a swag, and cool. Like, I'm good with that. Like, Hurricanes and Bennett swag, 80s, coming out of the camo. Like, Yes. But they were also whooping that ass consistently.
The Browns are changing a culture. Like, one thing that we talk about superstitions with Ernestine, one thing that is real is the Browns have the worst record, have not won a home opener, have not won week 1 of the NFL season in 15 years.
Yeah,
right?
That's bad for anyone who's wondering. That's not good.
Exactly. So, but I think there's a settling to it. You shouldn't win a game if you have 18 penalties. The other team has to be, shouts out Grambling State or something, like to actually execute that, because it shouldn't be possible.
Right. No, the sports gods are not rewarding that.
No, you lose games. We heard Bucky Brooks talk about the Patriots are better at knowing not how to lose than knowing how to win. The Browns have to figure out how not to win.
How to win.
How not to lose.
Yes, Earl says it all the time. He's like, at the end of games and championships and all that, it doesn't come down to who wins. It's who doesn't mess up.
Yeah.
And that's what the Patriots do, because they're so conditioned to the mental part of it and being mentally strong while also being physically prepared. If you're physically prepared because you just do that every day, it's a muscle memory, you don't have to worry about that. Like, it's a combination of the two things. And that many penalties is mental. That's discipline. That's on Freddie Kitchens. And I'm not gonna come down on the Browns like it's over and Freddie Kitchens is a disaster. Like, it's one game, everyone relax. I get it. It looked awful, but I think they're gonna be fine. But I do think that overall, if you're gonna establish a culture now, this is what we've been talking about all preseason leading up about the fear about the Browns. And this whole situation with Odell's watch, I'm not making a big deal about it, but he wore a $250,000 Richard Miles on the field, and the NFL's told him that he can't wear it. He's arguing with them and saying that he can. He might ruin jewelry for everyone. But
why can't?
Because he's saying it's plastic and guys wear braces that are made out of metal, and like there's a hard rule, like you can't wear anything hard object rule. But I kind of feel him, because they do wear like big things.
Go ahead, please, Hiller.
Have you ever played basketball with someone who's wearing a watch?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a great way to just get gored for no good reason.
Yes,
they wear
a random scratch.
Though.
I know that this is not the pickup basketball that I was playing, but does he need to do this?
No,
I understand.
He doesn't need to do it.
I understand
unless
wanting to.
You are a prisoner of swag, and then you may not have a choice.
Could you just say, Odell Beckham Jr. is a prison of swag?
Prisoner of swag.
Prisoner.
Yeah.
You ruined my line, but it's all right.
I
really wanted to say disciple. I was looking for the word like disciple or.
No, but think of what he would do to his prison uniform in the
Jesus
swagger prison. You know what I'm
swag.
saying?
cut the knees for sure.
For sure. Frilly bottoms.
I don't know. No, he doesn't need to wear it, but it's just another interesting element coming off of that horrific loss
They'll bounce back.
that's like you don't want to be dealing with. But we'll see. It is a nice watch though. I mean, call me old fashioned. I'd rather have a house.
You can't wear that during a football game. There's so many things that happen. What? No, it's not worth it.
I mean, Gronk had a whole mechanical arm.
Yeah, that was medical.
I mean,
Swag.
It's mental. You got to feel better. It might have one of those little bouncy things in it, you know?
No, the
that
magnets.
That get your equilibrium right?
No.
He's a very zen person.
He would, yeah.
It's got crystals in it, probably, at least.
OBJ has Ponzi scheme written all over him.
It's time for high key, low key.
High key.
Low key.
Pretty good. That's how the end was like. So high key, the Steelers are going to win the AFC North. And then low key, they will go nowhere in the playoffs.
Oh.
So that loss was straight trash.
Wait a minute. Why do you think they will win the AFC North? What do they have for that? They have to be good.
Who's going to beat them?
We'll get to the Ravens.
The
later.
Ravens?
We'll
I mean, look, the Ravens looks great. And I don't want to, skip on my take on the Ravens, but it just be the Dolphins. So it's just, I'll do what you're supposed to do.
I'm gonna say my takes when we talk about that.
But let's just condense the stats a little bit for a team that is not the Dolphins. We'll get to that. Well, we just did it, but we'll do it again in 5 minutes.
We'll
anyway,
revisit.
Full credit. Okay, Lamar Jackson's awesome, so just don't overreact to what I'm saying. The point is that was an awful performance by the Steelers in prime time. And I don't know, it literally looked like you could have used Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. I don't know, I'm just saying, but it kind of seemed like you probably needed a few pieces out there. And that's no disrespect to the team this year. But I mean, what am I supposed to say about that? That was the worst. That might be the worst loss in Steelers history. It was so bad.
I mean, they tied with the Browns week 1 last year, so that feels equal.
It was trash. Okay, now they're gonna win next week. All right, they're gonna beat Seattle because they are a great team, and great teams don't lose like that back to back. And
the Seahawks,
yeah,
they real.
Seahawks are not a bad team, but look, the Steelers just got embarrassed. All right, they're not going to get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. Okay? I'm not saying they're going to demolish the Seahawks. I'm just saying they're going to win. Okay. But and they're at home, so that's not going to happen again. But they don't that's come on, you can't do that. That's a reflection of you're unprepared.
What did they do?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They did a whole lot of nothing. I don't have a whole lot else to say about it. I am doing my Mike Tomlin impression right now, but it was not good and it sucked. And I'm disappointed. And they did all of that without Antonio Brown.
Big Ben said he needs to do more. And Juju had a good game. What are you going to do?
I mean, we need everyone to have a good game.
They did play. Okay, the opposite side of the Ravens-Dolphins take. They did play the Patriots, who are one of the most sound offensive teams, and their defense looks insane.
The Patriots kicked their ass. If you're a team that is supposed to be in contention for a Super Bowl, you need to give the Patriots a game. You can't get your ass kicked.
The only people that can do that are the Chiefs, and we know that. There's no one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Either you are a contender or you're not. And that's what I'm saying. I no longer think that they are.
But they can beat the
right now. I might change.
With the Ravens in there, putting up 50 burgers,
I don't think
scoring the most points that they've ever had in the franchise history.
I don't think the Ravens are a contender either. Check my predictions.
Okay.
High key, the Cowboys are good. Low key, I told you so.
Yes.
So Dak had the game of his life. And before you start talking about, Lamar Jackson was playing the Dolphins, the Giants are better than the Dolphins. The Giants would put a 30-burger on the Dolphins easy. Okay. And the Giants are not good. And I thought the Giants would be the worst team in the league. They're not. It's the Dolphins. So anyway, Dak had 405 yards, 4 touchdowns, 78.1 completion percentage.
Spread the thing around, too.
Yeah. Yes, he did, which is great. Everyone showed up. Everyone forgot Randall Cobb plays for the Cowboys, myself included.
I almost forgot Witten.
Most of the announcers. Jason Witten, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. I mean, they were everywhere. Giants defense is not good. But they're going to win next week against the Redskins, too. Although the R-Wards, they were looking a little fresh, too. I give them credit where credit's due. They gave up in the second half, but it was a cute performance in the first half, and I appreciated it. Kind of made everyone feel like the Eagles weren't real, and I just said they were asleep, because they were asleep, though. They were asleep, though. Yeah. And then shout out to Deshaun Jackson. Not done.
I did not start him in our league like a idiot.
I didn't draft him.
idiot.
I had an opportunity to draft him. I think in probably most people did because no one was expecting
Jackson,
him. But like,
I'm
saying I had an opportunity. Like I thought about it,
right?
And then I was like, he's in my queue. No, mistake by me.
Yeah,
it happens. But Zeke didn't even have a big game. So again, this is why you got to pay Dak. Pay him. Pay the man his money. Thank you. Just get it done. I don't know what the problem is. What's the hold up? Figure it out. Jerry, Steven, get on that.
God's working.
They have said that they are, but anyway, I appreciate it because I'm just right about the Cowboys, and I would like for everyone else to figure that out.
I think they
look great.
The Eagles will give the Cowboys a run for their money if their defensive line. Shouts out to Nate Ollie, assistant defensive line coach there. Play with him at Ball State.
Oh my God!
If they keep this up, Joy, I'm telling you, I like the Cowboys over the Eagles, and I wanted, but the Eagles. Carson Wentz is
they looked great. They looked for real. That's why they're going to win the division. That said, really quick note. It's my same note for the Dolphins. What are you doing? What are you doing, Giants?
Giants.
I'm talking to Giants specifically.
Talking about Eli.
Why? No, not Eli's fault in the spot. Why are you putting Daniel Jones in there? Why?
Run a series.
Why? What is the purpose of that? So we don't have enough time, but that was a mistake, and you deserve what happens, and Daniel Jones didn't deserve that. You don't put him in garbage time for what?
Complete some passes. He did a little thing down there. I mean,
no, he didn't, and that's my exact point. You can't. No, it's bad.
He didn't to win a game.
No, they did not put him in there to win the game.
No, they did not.
And he made it worse. Okay, and then of course, and it's not his fault because why are you going to put him in that spot? You chose to let Eli create this. Let him finish it.
That's fair.
Loser power rankings. Loser power rankings. These are the losers of the week. Okay.
Wait a minute. This is the first time you say rankings. You say loser power rankings.
Yeah. What do you think I was saying?
Every time we do it together, I say ranking. I leave the S off.
Well, if it was a ranking,
you're faster, so I always have to make it shorter somehow. I just drop the S.
Interesting.
Loser power ranking. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
I guess it would be ranking.
It's the first time I heard it.
Don't let him know. Don't let him know.
It's the first time I heard it.
All right.
No, that was a word gibberish, mouthful of nothing. Continue, Joy.
Okay, thank you. I would like to start with the Miami Dolphins.
Woo!
This week in the losers. Okay, so 59-10. Lamar Jackson. And the one positive of this disaster bowl was that Lamar Jackson looked incredible, and he didn't do it running.
Amen.
Which is what I wanted for Lamar Jackson, which is why I was afraid of Lamar Jackson this year, which is why I was afraid of his development this year and what the Ravens were going to do with him. And to their credit and to Lamar's credit, they did not.
Okay.
He had 324 yards and only 6 rushing yards.
That's what
I want to see.
Did I tell you?
He was slinging it everywhere, making incredible throws down the field. He looked awesome. 85% completion rate, 99.4 QBR. 5 touchdowns, as I said. He was amazing. And he crushed everyone afterwards. Pretty good for a running back.
Yes.
Obviously, there were jokes all over the internet about him being a wide receiver. Yeah. I may have participated. I don't remember. But I will say, I will keep it real about Lamar because I did not trust him this year. Like last year, cool, great, whatever. That's... I'm not going to overreact to that situation. But this year, what worried me was that they said they were going to let him run and they were going to push the running game with him. And to me, he's a quarterback. That's not what you want to develop in him. He will always be able to use his legs, but being able to sit in the pocket and throw the way that he was throwing and the power and the velocity and accuracy that he had, again, against the Dolphins, who are not good. So I would just scale back.
No, Joy.
And no, not the expectations. I'm saying scale back the numbers. He's not going to put up gaudy numbers like this every single week. But it was a great performance out of him. The Dolphins, however.
Joy, no. The Ravens.
Okay, but this is losers. The Ravens are not losers. Say what you need to say.
The Ravens, I've said on this podcast that Lamar Jackson was going to do it throwing the football. Ravens fans, I talked to one this weekend. It was weird. I ran into one. We don't trust Lamar Jackson. We trust John Harbaugh. We trust John Harbaugh a lot. You know why we trust John Harbaugh? You saw Joe Flacco last night? We trust John Harbaugh. We trust that Lamar Jackson is a Heisman level candidate. Talent, won, and wants to throw the ball to prove a point, and he's going to. He has Hollywood Brown to throw to. He has Miles Boykins. We have the better Antonio. We have the better Brown. The Ravens have the better Brown. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Maybe that's too early of a take. We'll see. Ravens win the Super Bowl. I have more faith in my Ravens winning a Super Bowl.
Down. All right,
going to the Super Bowl.
Some water.
Listen,
All right,
going to the Super Bowl, then Notre Dame going to the national championship. Ravens can make the Super Bowl before Notre Dame can make the national championship. I don't know if this is a hot take. This is what I'm looking at. See the eyes. Week 1.
All right.
Okay. And you said something about the Dolphins that we put 59 up on?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did put 59 on the Dolphins. And look,
they're a bad team, though.
I will say this. The players on the Dolphins squad are not tanking. They're trying. And I feel bad for the Dolphins team because they've been put in impossible spots.
Are they trying, though? They just asked to be traded, a lot of them?
Well,
requesting trading?
No, let's not exaggerate the
reports.
Here. The reports are that there are multiple players, which could be 2.
True.
Okay. By
More than
multiple
one.
standard of multiples, more than 1, could be 2. The team has not received any official requests for trades. It doesn't mean that people don't want to be traded. And that's because the organization has created a environment that is trash. And it's not on the players. It's not even on the coaches. Like, this is not a good situation. And this is it's a mentality. And this is what drives me so crazy about when organizations try to tank. It's not about it's not about the players. It's not about the coaches. It's not about the people that work in the organization. It's about the top thinking that you can create a negative environment that is going to grow something positive. It makes no sense. Speak to anyone who has done anything and accomplished anything in their life, probably yourself, because you're an executive, all right, in a very high level and a very important job. You can't create an environment that's awful and then expect to bring one person in and change nothing else that was already in that existing environment, and then all of a sudden it's going to be winning. It's years and years and years before this ever gets turned around unless you decide immediately that it is going to be turned around, which is obviously not the case this year. And just because you bring in Tua or anyone else, they're going to come into an organization that is prepared to lose because that's what you told them was okay. I'm done ranting.
Sell tank tops. Sell tank
the
tops.
Dolphins tank tops. All right. Speaking of clothing, thank you for that transition. People who still react to Cam Newton's wardrobe.
Attire, yes.
What are you doing? You're now the person who doesn't get it when the NBA players come through the tunnel in their outfits.
Right,
You're that
right.
person. Just so you know, you're like, oh my God, Cam Newton's, can you believe Cam Newton's hat? Yes, honey, I can.
Yes,
honey, it's been like 7 years.
I agree, but
Honey.
I think after you lose, maybe you should throw in some sweats. You know what I'm saying? Maybe let the nines get
I'm supposed
affected by the loss.
to lose and be unfashionable?
If you lose,
No.
okay. Just saying. Like that's where I'm.
Losing
going
is a mentality, and losers wear sweatpants.
You've been on this podcast.
I wear sweatpants every day.
Okay, I was about to say you talk a lot about wearing sweatpants.
But the point is that's old news, honey.
Right.
Okay, you're that person. It's like, can you believe what Russell Westbrook wore to the game?
Yeah. Were you new?
Are you new?
Yeah.
Oh, you're new. Oh, you're new here.
You just got a Twitter.
That is so adorable.
Welcome.
What else can I help you with? I'm sorry, I don't have time. Thank you. You're that person. Finally,
Flashbacks are on
speaking of
Thursday.
new here, Andrew Luck retired because his body couldn't take anymore.
Yeah.
And his mentality was tired of recovering from the beating that he took because the organization did not put together a proper offensive line to protect him.
Yeah.
Texans, a suggestion. Moving forward, you may want to consider winning in the trenches before we move outside. You have Deshaun Watson,
On
who
offense, too.
is an incredible all-time talent.
Mm-hmm.
He is a thrill to watch. Last night's game was so fun.
Great.
And what is he supposed to do? You have to protect him.
Yeah.
Don't do what the Colts did. Don't be the Colts.
Yeah, he looked like Baker out there running around because Baker had some offensive line troubles on Sunday as well.
Yes, that was the note that I forgot to put in for the Browns. You may want to work on that also, aka get that done. But I don't have the exact number. We put it on the herd today. I think he was pressured or touched on 43% of his dropbacks. That's not good.
No.
Not good. Not a good stat. Not the one that you want to have. So let's work on that.
He does so well too.
He's that game last night was so fun to watch. The Saints were surgical. Drew Brees at his highest level, in spite of the refs, which I don't even want to make that about. But like that game was so fun to watch. I really love watching both of those teams. I'm rooting for both of them, and it was just fun. But that like you got to protect Deshaun Watson. Like it can't happen.
And let's please stop giving J.J. Watt so many flowers because there's too many times I watch games and I hear, well, J.J. Watt's disappeared in this game. I hear that a little too frequently. I'll just say that.
But he threw the balls to the kids at the beginning, so he's a nice guy. So.
Listen, everyone loves JJ Watt. Everyone relax, all right? We all get it at this point.
True.
We get it. All right, what's in the Migos Culture Report?
Well, today, an article came out about why Kevin Durant chose the number 7 with the Brooklyn Nets. I say that because it's biblical. I told Heller yesterday, our town hall atheist, that people like Ray Lewis have 52 because it's both the days. It's been said that Cap wore the number 7. I don't know. What do you say? What do woke people say to defend Cap right now? Like believe in Cap? Like, what do you say? Hashtag? I'm a Cap. Okay, thank you so much. Hashtag I'm a Cap. He wears number 7 because of the holy day, the Lord. You're very...
God took 7 days
yes,
to do
Yes. So Kevin Durant is taking the holy route, wore the number 7 because, God created the earth in 6 days. He had it like that. And then he took a rest on Sunday. He took a rest on the 7th day.
I got the opportunity to tell Colin that I was a church girl today because him and Tony Gonzalez were talking about Tony Robbins. And I told him the first time that I had heard of Tony Robbins was when I watched the cinematic thriller Shallow Hal. That was
amazing.
Banana Hands.
Amazing.
When I was first introduced to
Gwyneth Paltrow's best role.
Oh my goodness.
Low-key.
I'm telling you.
Can I say it? Low-key, great movie.
Amazing film.
Incredibly
Jason
watchable.
Alexander's comeback film.
Yes.
Very funny.
Yes. Bring it back.
Great moral tie with everything,
Yes.
About not being shallow.
Right.
But anyway.
No more fat suits, though.
That's how.
Get a real person.
Yeah, for sure. With that, but I that's when I first met Tony Robbins. So he was like, "How did you hear about Tony Robbins in that state?" I was like, "Well, I went to church, so we don't believe in people motivating you."
Motivational speakers that aren't talking about God motivating.
What is that?
No. We don't even like Catholics that think that we should admit things to them. It's like, this is another man. You would pray to him like I'm praying to him?
No. It's just how much can I say to you?
Thank you, but no thank you.
Right?
Right, yeah. Are you a therapist?
Are you a doctor? An obligation to say something if I'm going to harm myself?
You going to call somebody after I leave
because
here?
God doesn't do that.
Right.
That's what I do.
He don't judge. God don't judge.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we relate. What else?
iPhone 11's coming out again. I mean, there's the iPhone 11.
Oh, great. So my phone's going to stop working soon? Good enough.
Yeah, all of our phones are going to start working
Thank you for the
soon.
heads up.
Yes, and Nicki Minaj is retiring from the rap game effective immediately to start a family.
Okay, so look, she put it out on Twitter, which is insensitive of her. It seemed a bit quick. There's you want to put together a video,
but in the
age of content, there's a nicer, more compact way. First of all, she's not retiring. All right, we've been through this with Jay-Z. We'll see you. We'll see you in 2 years. Okay,
and
probably less. Yeah, no one thinks you're retired.
Kanye.
But she's just taking some time away.
Yeah.
To start a family, which I respect.
Yeah.
Cardi chose not to take that path. Many women do, but whatever you choose to do.
Nicki writes her own rhymes though, so there's a difference there. I'm joking. I'm taking the feeding in the narrative.
Everyone handles those things differently.
Yeah, of course.
But speaking of families.
Yes.
We may have an announcement. I think we're going to do our first major announcement. We're going to do our first major announcement.
We're going to do our first major announcement?
What is it?
Sorry for the tongue thing. Perfectly going into this announcement. Michelle is pregnant.
Hey!
She is pregnant. We are having
Newman.
a baby boy thing. I don't know. It's so weird. I'm a dad now.
Wait, so is it a boy?
You're not a dad.
Well, the Nup theory. Are you familiar with the Nup theory? We've had multiple. The second ultrasound. It's time now. We can say it. We had the baby. We found out with all you guys. Heller found out first before anybody.
Full disclosure. We will post the video of how this all actually went down. Which is why I'm not crying and super hysterical right now because we've all known for quite some time. But the way we all actually found out is incredible, and we will post the video. We've been holding on to this video for a while now.
Yes.
I was involved in a way that no one wanted me to be involved.
Yeah, Heller, as usual, inserted himself in a situation that he shouldn't
Michelle
have been
helped,
in.
that's on her.
To Heller's credit, it wasn't all his fault.
Yes.
But
Instagram DMs.
it's debatable.
Anyways.
But the
My
point
palms are
is,
sweaty just thinking about that day.
congratulations.
Thank you
and
so much.
I finally got to say it.
Thank
that you're
you
pregnant.
so much. We're due in March.
Very excited for you.
Please send your registry thing. No, we don't know anything, but yes, a baby.
Huge announcement. Congratulations,
Huge.
Michelle.
Michelle has a
Newman
baby.
family.
Oh, we have a
Michelle's
baby.
family.
Yes.
Baby boy.
Yes, she's becoming me.
So it's going to be something Joy Newman.
Joy did call middle name. Joy did call, and we're having fun with names right now. Right now, we're doing whatever the size of the thing is. We're putting duh and on it. So at one point it was the Barryon. Right now I think it's the Limion. So like we just whatever the thing is, the size of it, we just
keep that going.
Yeah,
keep it going. I like the direction.
Right, thank you.
Congratulations on the
you.
baby.
Yes,
we're all very happy for you.
Alaska.
We have
I just had to tell everybody what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's when
name it Alaska.
You know what I'm saying?
Alaska's a good name. It'll be a good conversation starter.
Juno?
Or maybe a middle name. Maybe a middle name.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a horrible. What am I talking about? That's a horrible idea. Then your child's gonna forever have to say, "Why is your middle name Alaska?" Oh, well, that's what my parents conceived me.
Perfect.
Gross.
Perfect.
Terrible idea.
I'm glad I said it on the podcast.
No. Okay. Des caught it, and no. X that idea. All right. Now we have another announcement.
God.
I'd like you to close your eyes for a second.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I don't believe in peeking. Because what's the point of close your eyes? You're gonna peek. You know what I'm saying? What the hell? I just heard a box. Y'all crazy. Them ZO2s. Eyes closed. Eyes closed.
All right.
Don't do this. Wait a minute.
on.
I'm be afraid to. I'm be afraid to open my eyes.
All right.
Flowers,
Are you
I
ready?
don't know what a hydrangea is.
And you may open them. Congratulations.
Yay! This is not for the baby.
Well, it's not for the baby. It's not for the baby.
No,
not for the
not
baby.
for the baby.
We have a very big second announcement.
Yes.
I will let Brandon tell it, but these are gifts. Well, I guess it could also
Please,
be for the baby.
what are these
it's for
things?
all of your life
Oh my
transitions.
gosh,
Okay,
yes.
so not. I guess we shouldn't say it's not for the baby. It's also for the baby also.
The baby shouldn't
But
have the
mostly
whiskey.
90% it's for because we already gonna get you covered on the baby gifts.
Right.
It's for this announcement that you're gonna get right now. So tell everyone the announcement.
I am excited and saddened to say that this will be my last podcast on Maybe I'm Crazy. I will be starting very soon. I will be joining Barstool Sports as a person and doing the same thing I'm doing here. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Funny sports. We're talking about it. I have to move to New York City, where it's a big thing, big life change with the baby, and it's been kind of tied together this entire time. God's working. Shouts out to number 7. And actually we're having a baby in March with number 3, Holy Trinity. Just, for
It's
talking
all
about
coming
symbols.
together.
Yes, but thank you so much. Honestly, thank you for this opportunity. As I told you guys, you heard Ernestine, we met via here. She realized I was crazy early on. We became friends and we got this thing started. And I just am very, very thankful for this opportunity to talk and be crazy and stupid and talk about sports, something I love so much. And I appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to miss you dearly, and this sucks, but it's also very fun.
No, it's a great opportunity. We all love Barstool.
Yes.
Shout out to my girl, Casey Smith. I'm very excited for you. You took a big leap of faith doing the podcast with me and bet on yourself.
Great.
Which I appreciate,
Yeah,
and
I appreciate
we love everything that you've done here. We're super happy for you. It's a red velvet cake, so I meant it. But seriously,
now.
you're an amazing talent, a great friend. It's been awesome having you on the podcast. We can't wait to see what you do at Barstool. Million congratulations.
Thank you.
Super proud of you.
Thank you, my friends.
We love you. We love Barstool.
Love you guys all.
Hype,
Love
Michelle, congrats. And we're obviously gonna miss you.
Yeah.
But we'll have you on as a contributor anytime.
Yes. We gonna the special guest episode. That first special guest episode.
Yes.
Gonna be fire.
But seriously, I'm very proud of you. You've done an incredible job.
Thank you so much.
It's been great and amazing working with you. It's awesome to see other people recognize your talents and all the work that you've put in, which, we have a good time around here, but it is, it is a job, one that we would gladly do for free, but we don't, we try not to.
Yeah. We can get some money for it.
Yeah.
We try
This is the general idea.
Right, yeah.
But no, you've been amazing to work with. I can't wait to see what you do next. And we're going to all party in New York very soon.
Yes.
Super proud of you.
Thank
Super
you so
happy
much.
for you.
Appreciate
Barstool
it.
is getting a real one. And congratulations.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the crazy gang, the award-winning listeners, all the people that I've ran into in the streets. You guys are the best. You're the reason why we do this. I just can't wait wait to keep talking to you guys.
Yes. So that's our show for today. Make sure you subscribe and follow Brandon. We're not stopping the podcast.
No.
But we are going to support
Train
Brandon
keeps
wherever
going.
he goes as well. Make sure you get Ernestine's book.
Woo!
And
Balls.
It's on Amazon. And we will catch you next week.
Bye.
Yay, Brandon!
Hey!
Bye, guys.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.